In this video, I'm going to show you how to create professional level video animations using a feature in Apple Keynote called Magic Move. Hey, it's Michael Kinney from michaelkinney.com, and my mission is to help you engage, persuade, and educate using the power of video. You know, aside from being low-cost presentation software, Apple Keynote is a deceptively capable, easy-to-use video animation program that I use for all kinds of videos. I'm going to show you how to use a particularly powerful animation feature in Keynote called Magic Move. With Magic Move, you can create some pretty professional looking video animations quickly and easily. So let's hop into Keynote and I'll show you what I mean. Now, before I show you how to create professional quality video animations using Magic Move, I should first quickly show you how Magic Move works. First thing to know is that Magic Move is a type of transition. Transitions are effects you can use to move from one slide in your presentation to another. So, for example, I have these two slides here in the slide navigator. Now, if I play this from this first slide, by going up to the top bar and hitting the play button here, you'll see we have the first slide. Then when I left click or press the forward arrow key to move forward through the presentation, it jumps or cuts to the next slide. And that's the default transition between slides in Keynote, a cut. I'll just hit escape to get out of that. But there are a whole bunch of other transitions to choose from in Keynote. To select a transition, head to the slide navigator and select the slide you want to transition from. Then head over to the top right of the interface and press the Animate button. Then below, here in the Animate panel, under Transition Effect, click the Add Effect button, and you'll get this extensive collection of transition effects to choose from. And for convenience, you can preview each of the different transitions right here in the Transition panel by clicking on the preview text beside each of the transition effects. So you can see that little droplet transition there. What we're interested in is up here, and that's Magic Move. Now, Magic Move is in the transition collection, but it is very different from the other transitions. It doesn't just move from one slide to another. It creates the effect of objects on the first slide transforming and moving to new positions on the next slide. Let's create a Magic Move transition so you can see how this works. So I'll use this slide over here as an example. Now, as you can see, this slide has several objects on it. It's a bunch of shapes that are different colors. Now, the easiest way to create a Magic Move transition is to first duplicate the slide you're transitioning from. So I'll do this with this slide. I'll duplicate it by making sure it's selected in the slide navigator. Then I'll right-click, or you can control-click, and select Duplicate. Okay, now my duplicate slide is selected, and it's up here in the editing interface. So what I'm going to do is just move around these shapes, just modify them a little bit, and make this one a little bigger. Move this over here, and maybe this square, I'll actually change the color. And I'll do that by going up and hitting the Format tab, going to the fill, the color fill, and selecting a different color. Okay, so now I've adjusted these shapes and changed the colors. So now I'll go back to my original slide here in the slide navigator. It's making sure it's selected. And one thing to keep in mind is make sure that none of the objects on the slide are selected. Because if you do that and you go up to Animate, you'll get the Build interface. And we want to have the Transition interface, so you click off of the slide to deselect objects, and you can see here you get the Transition menu. So with the Transition mode selected here, I'll click Add Effect, Magic Move. And you just saw the little preview there of Magic Move. Let's see this again full screen. So I'll play this by heading up and clicking the play button. And so here's our original slide with the Magic Move transition applied. I'll click the forward arrow to move to the next slide. The objects animate smoothly to their new positions and orientations and change colors on the next slide. Just press escape to get out of that. So the Magic Move transition acts very much like the traditional keyframe animation you'd find in applications like Adobe After Effects, for example. So the first slide is like the first keyframe, and the next slide is like the second keyframe. And Magic Move smoothly animates between the two slides. But there's more you can do with Magic Move. For example, I'll use this slide here. It's very much our same slide with shapes on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this object from this slide. So I'll hit the delete key. Now, if you noticed, I have a duplicate slide. I already duplicated it to do this Magic Move effect. So on this first slide, I deleted the circle, and it's still on this second slide. Now I'm going to select my first slide here, go up to the transition effect, add an effect, Magic Move. You saw the preview, what happened. So let's see this in full screen. So I'll go to, I already have my first slide selected, so that's good. I'll go up and hit the play key. And so here's my first slide where I deleted the sphere, or the circle rather, the colored circle. Now I'll press the forward arrow key, and the circle fades in. I'll hit escape to get out of this. So with Magic Move, any object that appears on the second slide, we have our circle here, but is not present on the first slide of the Magic Move transition, fades in, as we saw. I'll just play this again. Hit the forward arrow key. Fades in. I hit escape to get out of that and into the editing interface. Now this little move actually works the other way as well. So let's go to our second slide. We're actually on it right now. And I'm going to delete this red square on our second or our duplicate slide. So I've got it selected and I'll hit delete. Okay, let's go back to our first slide by selecting it in the slide navigator. And let's go up and play. And we'll go through the Magic Move transition again. So here's our first slide. I'll hit the forward arrow key. See that? The red square faded out and our yellow circle faded in. I'll hit escape to get out of that again. So in Magic Move, any objects appearing on the first slide, but not on the second slide, fade out. Magic Move is most effective when both slides include at least one common object whose position or appearance has been changed. Like other effects in Keynote, Magic Move has a number of settings you can adjust. So we'll go back to our slide here with the Magic Move effect, and we'll move over to the right panel, the Transitions panel, and you can see all of these settings. So we'll start up here. And we have the change button. This is where you can change the transition from the Magic Move transition. You can choose another transition, or you can hit none and remove a transition effect altogether. Preview allows you to preview the Magic Move transition. If we hit that, you can see just previewed our little transition there, which is handy. You don't always have to run a slideshow to see your Magic Move transition in action. Below that, we have duration, which allows you to set how long the Magic Move transition takes in seconds. Then we have this checkbox below duration called Fade Unmatched Objects. Let's go back to my example slides here to see how that fade unmatched object setting works. So remember, with these slides, I deleted the yellow circle shape on this first slide, and I deleted the red square on this slide. And we did the magic move transition. Let's play that again. You can see. Just go full screen. I'll hit the play button, hit the forward arrow key, and we see our magic move happen. Nice fade in and fade out. Just hit escape to get out of that. Now, I'm going to go back to my first slide with the magic move transition applied to it. I'm going to head over and I'm going to uncheck the fade unmatched objects setting and show you what happens. So that's unchecked. I'm going to go back up to the play button, press it. Now, here's our first slide. I'm going to hit the forward arrow key, and the square just popped off, and the circle just popped on. So that's what that setting, just go back and bring it up. I'll hit this slide. That's what this setting, fade unmatched objects, does. It toggles between a smooth fade or hard cut for unmatched objects on the two slides. So I'll just set that back to the fade by checking that checkbox. Now, the match settings let you choose how you want Magic Move to transition between slides. By object is the default, which means Magic Move will operate on separate objects like an image, a block of text, or a shape. By word moves one or more words on the first slide to new positions on the second slide. I'm just going to select that. Now, I've got a couple of example slides to show you how the by word setting works. So here's this slide I put together, and you can see there's a very simple sentence on this first slide. And you can see that I have the Magic Move transition set with the by word setting selected. So I'll play this first slide by going up, hitting the play button so you can see this full screen. So here's our sentence on the first slide. Then I'll move to the next slide by pressing the forward arrow key and watch what happens. The words in the sentence on the first slide rearrange themselves to form a new sentence on the second slide. Hit escape to get out of that. Pretty interesting effect. Imagine having to manually animate each one of those words to complete that effect. With Magic Move, it's pretty simple. You just rearrange the words on the second slide. So here's our first sentence on the first slide. And then I just rearrange the words on the second slide and use the Magic Move transition with the by word setting. By character moves one or more characters on the first slide to new positions on the second slide. Again, I'll show you an example. So I've got two slides over here. Here's my first slide. And as you can see, I have the Match Move transition applied to this slide with the by character setting applied. So let's go up and play this slide. I'll go up and hit the play button. Okay, so here's our first slide with the two words. Now I'll hit the forward arrow key and watch what happens. The letters or characters on the first slide rearrange themselves to form the words on the second slide. I'll hit escape to get out of that. One condition with the by character setting for the Magic Move: to work, each character must be in its own text box. So if I select these letters, you'll see each of the letters is in their own text box. So that's the way that Magic Move can animate the individual letters. They have to be set apart in their own text box. Okay, let's click off of this slide to get back to our Magic Move transition settings. Now below the match, we have acceleration. This setting changes the quality of the transition. So again, I have an example to show you how this works. We'll go over to my first example slide over here. And you can see it's got a circle shape, and I duplicated this slide. Here's the duplicate, but I moved the shape, the circle, down to the bottom right corner, and on the first slide, the circle is in the top left corner. So let's start with the default ease in and ease out acceleration setting. I'll head up and I'll play this first slide. So here's our circle. I'll hit the forward arrow key. So with acceleration set to ease in and ease out, the object gradually speeds up, then gradually slows down. I'll hit escape to get out of that. So now I'll select our first slide again, and I'll set the acceleration to none. Let's see what that looks like. I'll move up and hit the play key, or play button rather. Here's our circle. I'll hit the forward arrow key. The object starts suddenly, then stops suddenly. That's with acceleration set to none. Hit escape to get out of that. Let's go back to our first slide with the Magic Move transition, and let's select in acceleration, or rather under acceleration, ease in. Let's see what that looks like. Go up, hit play. Here's our circle, hit the forward arrow key. The object gradually speeds up or eases in to its move, then stops abruptly at its final destination. Hit escape. Go back to our first slide with the Magic Move transition, and now under acceleration, let's try ease out. And we'll go up, hit the play button again, hit the forward arrow key. With the ease out setting under acceleration, the object starts abruptly, then gradually slows down or eases out of its move and into its final position. Hit escape to get out of that. Okay, let's go back to our first slide with the Magic Move transition, and let's check out these other settings. So below acceleration, we have Start Transition. The default is on click, which means the transition will start when you left click or press the forward arrow key. If you click the drop down, you can select automatically. With this setting, the Magic Move transition will start automatically after the initial slide, or the first slide, is finished all its animations. Now you can delay the automatic transition by entering in a time delay in seconds in this delay field. Now I should warn you about a gotcha when using Magic Move, and that is it doesn't work well with grouped objects. Let me show you what I mean. So I've got this slide here, the slide navigator, that contains two rectangles that are grouped with text captions. Now I've got this duplicate slide, and on this slide, this second slide, I've resized the rectangles and captions. Now I'll go back to the first slide and select it. Then I'll go up and hit the play button. Now I'll hit the forward arrow key to Magic Move to the next slide. Did you notice the strange double fade happening there? Not the look I'm going for with this animation. And that's because the shape and the text in our example are grouped. So I'll hit escape to get out of that. So I'll go back to my first slide, and I'll ungroup these objects by selecting them, right-clicking, and selecting Ungroup. And then I'll do that on the second slide as well, just make sure. Let's go back to the first slide, and let's play it from here with the objects ungrouped. So I'll hit the play button up here, hit the forward arrow key. Now the move happens as expected. So something to be aware of when using the Magic Move transition. Grouped objects may not behave as expected. Now that you've seen how Magic Move works, I'm going to wrap things up by showing you how to easily create a professional quality video effect using Magic Move. And that effect is the Ken Burns effect, pioneered by the famous award-winning documentary filmmaker Ken Burns. I think you'll recognize it as soon as you see it. So for this example, I've got two slides down here in the slide navigator. So on this first slide of the example, I have an image. It's a high-resolution image that's been zoomed in. I'll go up to the zoom settings up here, and I'll zoom out to, 50%, maybe 75 or 25%. And you can see this image that's been zoomed in to this area here. So this is the first keyframe, if you will, of this Ken Burns effect. And then on the second slide, I have the image more or less zoomed out to full. So I'll just go up and just fit that to the slide so you can see that a little better. So that's our second slide. So back to our first slide. And basically I just rearranged, or rather sized, these images just by selecting them here. And you can just drag the little square and you can resize there. And that's how you do that. So I did that on the first slide. And then on the second slide, I just put it to more or less fill the frame. All right, so back to the first slide. And we have Magic Move applied, the Magic Move transition, as you can see here. And I've put the duration to 12 seconds because I want a long move. And it's by object. And the acceleration is ease in and ease out because I want a smooth start and finish. And just for the sake of this demonstration, it's the transition is set to on click. So let's play this, and you can see this in action. So I'll go up to the play button. So here's our first slide zoomed into this object in the image. I'll hit the forward arrow key. We get this nice, smooth, dramatic pan and zoom effect into the image on the second slide. This is the Ken Burns effect, and it's used quite extensively in professional television productions. Now, the Ken Burns effect is just one example of the kinds of professional level video animations you can create using Magic Move. I'm sure after seeing how Magic Move works, your brain is probably cooking with all kinds of ideas of how to put it to work in your next Keynote-based video. Now, if you're not sure how to turn your Keynote animation into a video, I highly suggest you watch my tutorial, How to Make Videos with Apple Keynote. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. And as always, if you found value in this video, please share it, give it a like, and of course, subscribe. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.